Michigan didn't just win the Big Ten. I mean, please, they assassinated Iowa.
That was a coronation.
Yeah, and you know what? It's fitting because I think, they're clearly the best team. They dominated Ohio State. I don't think the final score indicated the reality of that game. They physically took Ohio State's will. And then when you go to the Big Ten title game, it's one thing to win it or to do it in dramatic fashion. But that game, to me, evoked Wisconsin, Nebraska, 70 to, whatever. They murdered Iowa. They crushed them. And that's kind of the way it felt it should have been, because this team primarily, they've been a machine beating people and beating them by margin. Look, the game itself, there's not a lot that's noteworthy because they did everything well. I think the more interesting stuff is for Michigan fans, and I talked to one of my buddies went, and I'm kind of annoyed with my other friend. They're both Wolverines, and my one buddy loves them, had season tickets, the whole thing. I even got this guy hooked up with tickets. And his brother, who was acting like a total speed bump, he couldn't get him to saddle up and go for the weekend. I'm going, then leave his ass here and go.
Why didn't he want to go?
Dude, I don't know. I was
superstitious type.
I was just disgusted. I go, you ask me to help you to get you. I get you the tickets, and then it's like, and I'm like, really? Okay, dude, you've only waited 17 years. Hope it doesn't take that long again. So here's the point.
Speaking of tickets, just so you know, I had your tickets to the Fiesta Bowl.
We'll get into that.
You were all set.
I know, man. It's cool.
You were set. You were hooked up.
So my point is, for Michigan fans, you waited so long for this. This team went from unranked, many fans thinking it was Harbaugh's swan song, 7-5, maybe an 8-4. No way we'll beat the Buckeyes. You become the first team to go from unranked to the playoff. And you're not just in, you're clearly like you're number 2. You got the resume. You dominated your Big Ten title game. You carved your own path. So here's my question. What now? Like, I know when MSU got to the playoff and we were facing Bama, I was just like, whatever. This season's been awesome. We won the Big Ten, and I can't believe we made the playoff, and now, well, I guess we're dead. I don't know that that's the case for you. Now, again, right now, what was it? You're 9-point underdogs.
Started at 7, moved to 9.
Bumped it right out. Vegas knows what they're doing. We're just going to hang that 7 out there. You guys figure it out. Look, I don't know anyone wants to line up and play you. Now, maybe Bama with the yummy rat poison, according to Nick Saban. I didn't know Bama still had that lion in the cage. That was an incredible performance. Cincy, forget about it. They don't want a piece of it.
See, really, you didn't see that Bama thing coming, and
Not
you
like
are
that.
Mr. Analytics. Like
I
that
had
one
Bama
was staring you in the face of what was going to happen.
I had Bama money line, but mentally it was a 26-23 final. They destroyed Georgia, destroyed them, and took Kenny Cott with them. So my point for Michigan fan is, all right, is this season, are you satisfied right now? Or do you need more? There's a difference between, like, an Alabama fan is not satisfied unless they win the title. But then there's kind of like, look, if you haven't won the Big Ten in 17 years, you're on a bit of a free roll. Sure, you don't want the ride to end. This is the most fun you've probably had as a Michigan fan in 20 years. But do you need it? Or do you feel like, look, we beat Ohio State. We won the Big Ten. Obviously, you hate the blemish to MSU. I get it. But if I told you this is how it would play out, you would have signed up for this every day of the week and twice on Sunday in the beginning of the season. You'll lose to MSU, but you'll win the Big Ten, and you'll go to the playoff.
Yeah.
Oh, you take it all day. So my question is, what now? Are you able to look at it and go, whatever happens, happens, I'm happy? Or do you look at this and go, okay, feel like it's a team of destiny, feel like we're peaking at the right time, need to get to play Bama before I'd feel that?
And, Mike, let me add a third question to this mix. If you're a Michigan fan, were you disappointed when you weren't the number 1 team? When Alabama became the number one team, and you were too. Was that a disappointment for you because you had just won the Big Ten, you rolled Iowa?
Yeah, but Iowa's nobody. Bama rolled Georgia. I can't make the case for U of M being number one.
I mean, a lot of people are trying to make that case.
They can make that case because they want to play Cincy and take the easy way out.
Yeah, that's what it really is.
Look, here's the bottom line. What Michigan has right now is an opportunity to win the most impressive national title in the playoff era. If you go through Georgia and Bama and Ohio State in a month and you win them all,
that's off.
Biggest tip of the cap I can ever offer. That would be the most impressive. For all the crap you took about 97, where people tried to take away your title or argue your title, let me tell you something. You go and win this title like this, I think it makes up for all the arrows you took for 97, which I don't play that game. You won the title. So did Nebraska. It was a weird time in our lives. This, go win your games. It's right there. Now, what you need and where your satisfaction point is, that's on you. I can't speak to. I know for me, making the playoff and then staring Bama down, I went, well, kind of think we've reached the end of the road here. With Michigan, I feel like this team has some of the pieces you would need. This Georgia game, hey, man, I get it. It's going to be an angry Georgia team, but this is not a complete Georgia team. That quarterback spot, I don't know, man. You know, Stetson Bennett, bright lights, biggest games. He looked like a former walk-on. And when you look at Michigan with that pass rush, when I watched your guy, Willie Anderson, because you've been on the Willie Anderson bus all year with Alabama, he was getting whatever he wanted, every pass rush. Look, I'm not telling you Hutchinson is Anderson or Anderson's Hutchinson. You guys sort all that out. But Hutchinson and Ajabo are a challenge. They are a distinct problem. And I didn't like what I saw from Georgia's tackles against Bama. Would it be fair to say that Hutchinson and Ajabo are at least Bama level? Like, if you struggled versus Willie Anderson and company,
right?
I absolutely could see a situation they struggle against Ajabo and Hutchinson.
Fair.
I can't act like Georgia's O-line is just going to, quote, handle them.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So, look, I'm not writing you off. I told you, betting Michigan to win it all at plus 1,000, that's a free roll to me. That's a free roll because...
See, my only thing is the flip side. It comes to the offense. And if you're honest with yourself about every game, and David, you're the Michigan person, so tell me if I'm out of bounds here. But you even saw it in the championship game. There's probably a 5 or 6 minute span, or maybe even a little bit longer, where the Michigan offense just goes brain dead. Where you're sitting there saying, did you just fair catch a ball on your own 3-yard line? Or they just keep going 3 and out, and you leave the door open for the other team. Now, they quickly shut it against Iowa, but they gave Iowa every opportunity to get back in this
early
thing.
In the game, they did.
Early in the game. Like, they have those moments where the other team can, and they have it. Penn State. MSU was the only team that took advantage of that when they just started making all types of mental errors. I don't think you're allowed to do that against Georgia and then get away with it. You make mental errors against that Georgia defense. Look, think what you want about what you saw against Alabama. That was a Bama team that needed the game, and Nick Saban knows the secret sauce to beat Georgia.
Right, that was the easiest bet of the century. Saban is a touchdown underdog
That's
against
still
Georgia?
the number one defense that Georgia has. So that's what it's the other side of the ball. I do think that the defensive ends for Michigan will be able to hit home, but it's will Michigan be able to move the ball, especially when they get in that lull where all of a sudden they're just having a hard time moving the ball.
Yeah, my thing with Michigan, and again, we have a month to talk about the Georgia game, so I don't want to like overdo it, but the Iowa game was such a formality. Like, we all knew going in, they weren't going to lose the game. It was a matter of what will they look like. Look, first half, little flat, weren't great, clearly got dialed in at halftime, and just obliterated that team.
But see, I thought they were about to run away with it when they did the Donovan Edwards halfback pass. I'm like, okay. And now they're cooking, and then they just shut the stove down. Yeah, I was only going to go in halftime.
I'll be really interested to watch Michigan's O-line against that Georgia front, specifically the interior. Nobody's been able to really.
That's going to be a fun watch.
I mean,
Big
Jordan
number
Davis,
99.
yeah. He's also like 50 years old. That might actually be Danny Glover at defensive tackle. Dude, he's like
Riggs.
Right, he's like 30. But no, look, I just want to know what Michigan fan needs here on out. I've been on the train. I gave you the plus 260 against Ohio State. I believe you are a live opponent here, and I don't think anybody is comfortable. Because look, offensively, if you look 3 months ago, we were making fun of them for a reason. They were pathetic. They were beating up on bad teams by just running a high school playbook. But if you look at their offense today versus the night they played UW or when they played Western, it's a totally different package. It is balanced. I even like what
now I see a little bit more Josh Gaddis, where before it was just it was hardball, run it up the middle, run it up the middle.
Well, look at the interior, exterior, right? With the two tight ends, with all Schoonmaker, and then you go to the exterior, and whether it's Sandra, whether it's Wilson, what's the other kid? Cornelius Johnson. Like, look, no one human is featured. Now, part of that is they don't have a Jalen Waddle, right? Or they don't have a Devontae Smith. That's not a crime. I think all their guys are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And with Donovan Edwards healthy, they have this backfield. It's almost like Austin Eckler. Like, not body type-wise. I'm just saying role. Edwards out of the backfield is a problem. So now they can hit you east and west. They don't want to do a lot of vertical stuff, but they can. Right. And you don't quite know who to take away. It's very balanced.
There isn't that one guy. It could be Andrell Anthony. It could be anybody.
That's the kid I forgot. I'm sorry about that. I shouldn't, being that he caught a 100-yard TD against